Have you ever wondered why, sometimes, the man who seemed to move on suddenly comes back, begging, pleading, asking for another chance? Even if he's with someone else, even if you're convinced he's gone for good, something invisible happens. When you do this, a silent power that turns the entire game upside down. What if I told you that there's one simple move, one strategic shift, that can make him crave your presence so intensely that he'll be rushing back to you? Not with desperation or manipulation, but because of the deepest parts of his unconscious mind. A part that Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists of all time, explained as the realm where our true desires, fears, and shadow selves dwell. You see, in relationships, and especially in our relationships with men, there's a subtle but profound psychological truth many fail to understand: the power of silence and absence. When you withdraw just enough, when you stop chasing, asking, and begging, you ignite something primal within him, a fierce longing rooted in the ancient fears of loss that our subconscious still holds dear. Imagine for a moment a woman who understands this, who knows how to disappear, not out of bitterness or indifference, but as a strategic act rooted in psychological science. When she steps back, she's not playing games. She's awakening a part of him that doesn't respond to words or gestures. She's tapping into what Jung called the path of individuation, the journey toward becoming whole by reclaiming her power, her essence, and her space. And here's the truth: the less he sees you, the more he fears losing you. The more you make yourself scarce, the more your absence speaks directly to his deepest fears of abandonment. That's when you flip the whole relationship dynamic. That's when he begins to chase, not out of weakness, but because your silence has activated the strongest instinct he has, the desire to hunt what's becoming just out of reach. So, if you want him to come back begging, even if he's with another woman, here's what you need to understand. It's not about manipulation, control, or playing mind games. It's about unleashing your own quiet power, your emotional mastery, and understanding the invisible forces at work inside his mind. This is the secret psychology that Jung unlocked centuries ago. How to ignite the longing that will make him want you more than ever before. Because true power in love isn't in chasing or persuading, it's in making yourself unforgettable. Even in your absence, it's about turning your silence into a magnet that draws him back, craving what he once thought was lost. And trust me, this is a move you can master. I'll show you how, step by step. But first, remember, the real magic begins when you understand that sometimes doing nothing is everything. Are you ready to unlock this mysterious power? Stay with me, because in the next part I'll reveal exactly what to do, the specific strategy that will turn his longing into desperate pleas. Before we move forward, if you're ready to transform your love life and learn how to use silence as your most powerful tool, make sure to subscribe, like, or comment below. Because what I'll share next might just change everything you thought you knew about love and desire. Stay tuned, your transformation begins now. Now that you understand the core concept, that silence and strategic withdrawal can ignite a man's deepest fears and desires, it's time to dive into the how and why behind this powerful psychological move. Think about the mind of a man when he perceives that what he once had is slipping away. Jung's theories reveal that the subconscious reacts profoundly to what's missing, not what's present. When you pull back, you're creating a void, a space that signals this isn't available anymore. And in that space, something primitive awakens, the fear of final loss, of undeniable absence. This fear, buried deep within our evolutionary instincts, becomes a trigger for him to reconsider what he's risking. The idea is simple, yet profound. When you vanish, you become a mysterious, ungraspable presence. And in psychology, what we can't have is what we desire most. Our minds are wired to chase the elusive, to fill the gaps where our certainty once was. When you stop feeding his ego, no texts, no calls, no social media interactions, you're sending a clear message. I am no longer available to be played with, taken for granted, or used as an emotional crutch. Here's what's happening beneath the surface. When your absence becomes consistent, his subconscious begins to fill the space with doubts, questions, and old archetypes rooted in fear. Jung identified that these archetypes, like the lost object, drive much of our desire and actions. When he starts questioning, where is she? Why isn't she reaching out? He's tapping into an unconscious drive to restore what feels lost, to reclaim his sense of control and connection. And I know what you're thinking. Is this manipulation? Is this playing games? The answer is no. It's understanding the laws of the unconscious, the inner landscapes that govern human behavior. In fact, those laws are universal. When something feels scarce, it gains value. When you are always available, you become part of the background, familiar, predictable, and undervalued. But when you withdraw and create healthy emotional scarcity, you ignite the primal instinct of pursuit and desire. You re-establish your worth as a woman who is confident, whole, and intentionally unattainable. So how do you do this in practice? First, it begins with your mindset. Recognize that your emotional independence and self-worth are the most attractive qualities. When you stop seeking validation outside of yourself, you automatically shift from being someone who is always chasing to someone who is worth chasing. That shift is felt in his subconscious, long before he consciously realizes it. Next, focus on actions that reinforce this new mindset. Stop reaching out first. Stop responding instantly. Even on social media, no more oversharing, no more giving hints of your availability. Instead, focus inward on your growth, your goals, your passions. When you do that, your energy transforms. It's no longer about him. It's about you becoming the best version of yourself. And here's the secret. The longer you stay silent, the louder your presence becomes. Your absence speaks volumes. That's what makes this strategy so effective. It's not just about ignoring him. It's about making yourself so valuable and self-sufficient that his desire intensifies. It's about embodying the woman who doesn't need to chase because she already has everything she needs within herself. But remember, this isn't about coldness or playing mind games. This is about reclaiming your power by understanding the deep psychological needs of men and activating their subconscious fears and desires. Jung would tell you that this process, this strategic silence, is part of your journey of individuation, becoming more whole by refusing to be defined solely through his approval. So, if you want that man to be the one knocking on your door, begging for the chance to start over, you first need to master the art of strategic presence through absence. That's how. The next section, I'll share stories and real-life examples that illustrate exactly how this works in practice. Because theory alone isn't enough. You need to see the transformation in action. Stay with me. What I'm about to reveal could be the turning point you've been waiting for. If you're ready to master the silent power that rewires desire, on a subconscious level, make sure to subscribe and keep watching. The next moves are waiting for you. You've learned the theory, the psychology behind why silence works, how it activates his deepest fears, and how this strategy taps into Jungian archetypes. Now it's time for the real transformation, turning this knowledge into action that resonates on a subconscious level. First and foremost, the move is simple in concept, but profound in effect. Stop chasing, stop reaching out, stop trying to prove your worth with words or gestures. Instead, focus on cultivating your own life, your goals, your passions, and your inner peace. This is not about playing cold or ignoring him forever. It's about shifting the energy, realigning your self-worth, and creating the space where desire can revive naturally. Here's a step-by-step guide to implementing this strategy. Remove all unnecessary communication. No more texts, no more social media comments or likes. Live your life fully. Work on yourself, pursue your passions, deepen your personal growth. When you focus outward on your development, your energy shifts. And this shift is felt on a subconscious level by him. Practice emotional and physical indifference. This doesn't mean you're cold or unkind. It means you're emotionally self-sufficient. If he reaches out, respond minimally and politely. Keep your interactions brief, purposeful, and detached. If he doesn't initiate, don't chase. Simply respect your own space and continue living your life. Get comfortable with silence and absence. Resist the urge to fill all gaps. Instead, Master the art of remaining silent and unresponsive, knowing this creates a profound impact. This silence activates his desire and insecurity in a way words never could. Reinvest in yourself. Focus on your health, your passions, and your goals. For example, if you've always wanted to start a new hobby, take that dance class. Learn a new language, start exercising, do it. Reshape your identity around your growth, independent of his presence. Be consistent. The real power comes from patience. This process takes time. Stay committed to maintaining your emotional independence, even when it's uncomfortable. That's when growth happens. Now let me share some real stories that exemplify this approach. Sarah was heartbroken after her breakup. She realized her ex was ignoring her efforts to reach out, so she decided to stop chasing. No texts, no calls, no social media reposts. Instead, she threw herself into her passion for art and helped her sister. Months later, she posted a single photo of her new artwork, radiating confidence. Less than 2 weeks later, her ex messaged her out of the blue, apologizing, claiming he couldn't forget her. The silence had spoken volumes. She had activated the primal fears of loss and had re-emerged as her most authentic self. Emma learned that her constant availability, always replying immediately, always saying yes, made her feel invisible. When she started to decline invitations, delayed responses and focused on her ambitions, her energy shifted. 6 weeks later, her ex reached out unexpectedly, asking if she was seeing someone new. She remained calm, responded briefly, and continued to focus on her growth. Her quiet confidence made her unforgettable, and his desire grew insatiably. Cultivate a sense of emotional scarcity. The core idea here is that what's rare becomes valuable. When you make yourself less available, you stand out. The human mind instinctively values what it perceives as hard to get. This activates desire on a primal level. When he perceives you as scarce, his mind fills in the blanks with fantasies of what if and could be, fueling the longing. The ultimate goal. When you master this process, the man's feelings shift from complacency to obsession. He begins to see your absence as a loss that is more than he can accept. If he loves you deeply, regardless of whether he's with someone else, this subtle psychological shift will activate his desire to pursue you again. And here's the best part. It's not about faking emotions or playing manipulative games. It's about aligning your actions with your highest self, respecting your worth, and trusting the universal laws of desire and the unconscious mind. The final power move. One day, when you're truly in your power, you'll feel a shift. You'll realize you no longer need to chase, beg, or prove your worth because your value is rooted inside you. Confidence will radiate from your core, and he'll see it, without you saying a word. So, what's next? Your task is to embrace this process fully. Set your intentions, abandon the need for immediate validation, and give yourself permission to become the woman who is so self-assured, so fulfilled, that others can't help but admire her and desire her. Remember, this approach isn't about playing games. It's about being a woman who knows her worth, who stands firm in her authenticity. When you do that, he will come back, because he can't resist the magnetic pull of the woman who's complete and unshakable from within. And here's my challenge for you. Today, delete your immediate responses. Focus on your passions. Let him wander. Trust that the silence you craft today becomes the desire that will ignite tomorrow. Because the woman who is truly in control is the woman who is unattainable, unforgettable, and unapologetically herself. Once you master this, your love story changes. Not through manipulation, but through the natural laws that govern human desire and the power of your authentic presence. Are you ready to take this step? If you're committed to reclaiming your power and turning silence into your most irresistible weapon, subscribe, comment, or like below. Because what's coming next is the final move that makes him realize you are the one worth fighting for.